All right, so today I looked at the Amazon Sustainability Report, the Walmart ESG report, and then I peeked at the Starbucks Global Impact report just because I work there. But their eco bragging is kind of frustrating when you work at the store level and you see a lot of like unsustainable practices. Um, but Amazon and Starbucks were both just over 50 pages long, while Walmart's was over 100 pages long. Um, and their sustainability section started on like page 25. So about 75 to 80 pages of sustainability reporting, which is really cool. For my capstone, my class is working with the enterprise on semi, and they're pretty sustainability focused. Their sustainability report is also over 100 pages, so that was cool to compare. Um, Also, Walmart's ESG overview has links to all these additional reports, statements, and policies regarding like adjacent issues, like animal welfare and seafood. Both Amazon and Walmart had a similar topic set up for their report, where they addressed carbon emissions first and then they talked about community last. Um, but both Walmart and Starbucks started their with a focus on their employee care. This kind of made me think about how a couple years ago these like allegations rose about Amazon mistreating their employees, not giving them bathroom breaks, and so I'm wondering if the 2026 report might address that a little more thoroughly. I noticed that both Amazon and Starbucks also started with disclaimers about like their sustainability practices are not perfect, but they're working on getting better. Amazon talked about how progress isn't always linear when they're addressing how their absolute carbon emissions rose by 6% in the last 2 years. I was kind of impressed by Walmart's attention to sustainable seafood sources and animal welfare. And then also when they were discussing renewable energy, they showed pictures of like rooftop solar on top of their stores. Um, in contrast to the Amazon report, which kind of made me unsure, where they showed pictures surrounding their carbon policy of like endless solar farms just on like agricultural land. And then like these tiny uniform evergreen plants planted on an empty plot when they were talking about net zero emissions. Um, Walmart's energy demand met by renewable sources is lower than Amazon's at 48%, and Amazon's is, they reported almost like over 90%, but their wording was a little bit strange. So I'm just not sure that Amazon is achieving net zero emissions in a very sustainable way. And I also noticed that their signatory support for their climate pledge, like the growth for that has declined pretty drastically when you look at what it was in 2024 and then like the real-time signatories. It's grown pretty slowly in the last 2 years compared to its first 5 years. Amazon put a lot of emphasis on how they're increasing their fleet of EVs while developing renewable energy, which is good. That's important. But then I wasn't really sure again when they talked about EVs in India. And then I did a quick Google search and learned that 85% of households in India experience regular power power cuts. And so I think that it's important to also discuss um, sustainable energy development um, in other countries if we're also putting EVs on the road in other countries. I am curious to, so I'm curious to compare the 2026 report that drops in July, particularly pertaining to the land grab for data centers. In our lecture, Dr. Karpelman discussed, or she stressed that corporate reporting is a marketing technique. And so, as a marketing technique, if companies want to appear transparent, they do have to address contemporary concerns. Um, Amazon's biodiversity section of the report was pretty slim. They talked about this wildlife conservation um, elephant sanctuary that they supported in another country, and then they talked about how they support their partnered farms in planting prairie strips, and that was about it. With biodiversity concerns surrounding big companies purchasing farmland for data centers and contaminating water, I'm wondering if their biodiversity section will grow uh, when their 2026 report drops in July, and then if they'll have maybe a new section dedicated more specifically to data centers. And that's that. Thank you.